Everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to continue discussing some of our locations around the world where we've put our own feet and the way they come to life in the Word. And we're going to relate them to you guys. But one of our favorite places today, the Jordan River.
Great place.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to talk just a couple of different parts about it. Number one, how incredible it is to be there, be in the water, as well as a couple historical people that have established different segments of it. I know Chuck Smith had a hand in some of the structures there, and as well as the Catholic Church has a large portion there. We're going to share with you a little bit of our experience. I'm going to tell you right now, it is an experience if you choose to take the whole experience. It is a little bit interesting, however, life-changing. So what is your favorite part about being at the Jordan River?
I will tell you that it is difficult to separate my two favorite parts. My first favorite part is the anticipation. People are so excited to actually go to the Jordan River, the place where Jesus was baptized, go to the Jordan River, and they have great expectation and anticipation of going to perhaps get baptized in the Jordan River. And in every trip we've taken, whenever we offer opportunity for baptism, people who have said, no, are all at that moment saying, yes, I have to.
It's an interesting concept, getting rebaptized for a lot of people. They're looking for it. And I remember discussing with someone, I was like, no, it's not undoing your original baptism. It's not taking away anything from that.
Boost.
It's an opportunity,
booster.
Arguably a completely unnecessary opportunity
Right.
for those who have already been baptized. So just keep that in mind. Now, we don't get dunked every time we go, but there's, some special highlights, and not a requirement. Tell you right now, and we're not going to pressure you into it if you ever go with us, because your baptism, your demonstration of what God has done in your life, that's enough. That's sufficient. So just a disclaimer before we get too carried away. Let's talk about the most focal part about it. Your favorite, just give me your favorite biblical moment of the Jordan.
My favorite has to be Jesus Christ coming out and hearing God from heaven saying, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Listen to him. Hear ye him." The King James says, "Hear ye him." It's like he's talking right to me.
Yeah.
Listen to him.
Yeah. Any other questions? It's Jesus. It's my son. He's got it all locked in. I love that. Mark is my favorite account of that same moment being my favorite part for the Jordan as well, when God rends the heavens and says, "Hey, pay attention." And it's like,
hey, shameless plug for the book of Mark. It really is interesting that, Matthew records the event, but Mark, he puts like color in it. He's like, hey, guess what? Yeah, I know. God declared from heaven. No, the heavens parted. It was crazy. You can almost see it in three dimension. If he could give color, he would make it in color.
And it fits on this much of the page, and it's a vibrant scene.
Isn't that awesome?
It's incredible. And I think that's also the way the Jordan is. It is, in some ways, it is exactly what you expect it to be, and in other ways, it is nothing like you expected it to be. And I think that's an interesting, that could be a whole topic, because it is a long river. It's long, it can get wide, it can get narrow, you can see it taper down, you can see it get huge. So you probably have imagined a part of it, but there's a specific site that we went to on our trip, and I say we focus on that one for today, because
which one?
Where we do our baptisms, where we end up being baptized, because it's not an area where you could just walk into a part of the water and go. Now, I will say the current moves more than I thought. I'll give it that. And where we went, they've established, I don't know what the technical term would be, so please provide the clarity, designated baptism areas. And it's almost like they keep the current under control. There's safe-ish steps to go down. Railings and guides that go into the water. It's a very tourist-friendly way to interact. I don't want to say that and make you feel like it's lame. A tourist-friendly way to interact with the Jordan River, for lack of a better term. But
well, spontaneity has to go out the window, because you have to book a window.
Oh, and
you have to.
I forgot. That's right. You have to reserve a spot to go in here, a time spot, and you have a designated amount of time. There are rules and requirements. You are required to wear one of their robes, because they're to them, this is our
You can buy one or
place.
rent one, but
Buy one or rent one. I still have mine. I wasn't sure if I bought it or rented it, but I have it. So that's all I know. I apologize if I wasn't supposed to keep it, but it seemed like I was supposed to keep it, so I have it. But
and if you have a problem with modesty when you go into the changing rooms,
you won't when you're done.
You won't when you're
You'll get over it real quick. I have
listen,
never walked into a room and seen that many naked people in my life.
Europeans. It's
Yeah.
like it's.
Yeah,
It's a
you
thing.
could call that a cultural thing. I mean, listen, I think of when I go to the locker room at the gym, and inevitably there's always one old guy that's like just like taking a shower and doing this. I'm talking 100 people crammed into a tile-ish room that's like steamy and hot, and you're like, why are we here? Everybody buck naked. Just completely there, and they're all so that they can transition in or out of their robes because they have to adhere to their time slot. Now, that's not to deter you or scare you, and hopefully that's not an encouragement for you to go do this. So we'll keep that as clear as we can. But there are actual changing stalls. These people are just too impatient usually to
Right.
wait for it. So there is a safe opportunity, but I'm saying, like you said,
Yeah, there are places
European
for modesty, but
there's
that's-
places where they're just like,
that's
hey,
a-
I'll go for it. That is an interesting thing that everybody walked away thinking, I didn't expect that when I walked in the room over there. You're like, okay, I'm gonna have to gather myself anyway. And that's interesting because there's a few other places. The Dead Sea was similar to that as well, where they have
yeah.
it's
Outdoor
a
showers.
huge tourist attraction. There's outdoor showers, and you're just like, this is not what I expected. You're just standing there. So keep in mind, we'll warn you ahead of time if you're going. And there's plenty, like I said, there's plenty of modest options for you to do that. But you have to book a slot if you want. You have to be in one of the robes. So you have to rent or purchase it, which is a weird experience for where it is. God knows what he's doing with it. But it's a really cool place anyway. You'll get your robe, you go down, and we probably have some pictures or videos that we'll try to add on the screen if Shane can make it work. But we'll, as he edits those in, we'll share them with you because it's a really cool experience. It's a really awesome time when you're looking there, and there are people that are rededicating their life to Christ. There are people that are saying, for the first time, I'm going to stand out and do this. And there are people that are just saying, I don't want to oversimplify it. I don't want to miss an opportunity. It's where Jesus was baptized. That's going to change your life. And again, not a requirement. Arguably completely unnecessary. I am a huge fan of you making commitments and dedicating your life to Christ. And if you need a physical reminder for that, I say go for it. I know that I'll speak only for myself. My wife and I got baptized together in the Jordan because although we had both been baptized in our teen years, we were evaluating our lives and saying, like, we never got, and I hate to use this word, rebaptized, when we actually made the relationship personal on our own with God individually, and we just looked at it and said, let's make this a part of our marriage now together. So we went for that. I don't have a biblical basis for that one. It was just something we were praying about and like, hey, let's identify together in this, let's do this. And we had some conversations that worked out parts of our relationship even before going in there, and we're like,
Isn't that
all right,
great?
God, use this. So again, I don't have the huge basis for it where it would be like, hey, this is my rationale or justification, but I'm saying God can use some moving water to help your marriage, your relationship with him, or even just your daily struggles. So
There's probably a
pretty
sermon
cool.
in there. When
there's 100.
But when you start to think about as you're anticipating going there, and you have an expectation, and then you go there, and whatever your expectation was, if you've never seen it, you wouldn't know, obviously. And now you're confronted with it, and you say, "This is special. It's the only place in the planet that is the Jordan River.
Yeah.
This
no other
can't
Jordan
be
River.
replaced. It can't be substituted. If you're here, this is where it is. So, okay, and I'm going to make this decision." Then you start to make the preparation. You make the preparation, you get a robe, and you're going to have to change into that robe. When you go to change into the robe, your group will be in a place, hopefully, where you're a little off by yourself, and somebody pulls out a guitar or starts to lead in singing. Somebody cracks open a Bible and starts to record or read from the Bible, typically the account. Mark's Gospel is a good one. And they read the account of Jesus Christ being baptized. And then you're now confronted and immersed in the emotions as well. And as you're doing that and you start to hear your group singing, you can't help but notice that there are other groups around, and there's a group and they're in prayer mode, and there's a group and they're in sharing the Bible story mode, and there's another group over there and they're playing worship mode. And sometimes if you're very fortunate, what you'll find is that there's several different languages. And you understand and you know God is pleased. He's pleased with them, and I don't understand what they're saying. I don't have to, because they're not talking to me. But when they're talking to God, let God deal with them. Their praise and worship can be in another language, and it's praise and worship to the God of the universe. I'm the one that's an outsider here. I'm in Israel, another country where English is not the native language, and I only speak English. So here I am leading in English, but I hear it in so many others, and you hear, and it really impressed upon me God's unity of the Spirit and the bond of peace, bringing the body of Christ together at the place where he himself began his ministry.
Yeah, and it's incredible just to think like this, the water was the same for everyone. Different cultures, everything. We're all looking for the same thing. It's the same water in the same place for the same reason. And that's, like you're saying, that unity is incredible. And it should be and is moving, and something that really encourages you when you're standing there looking around. And we joked about it being a tourist-friendly way to interact with the Jordan. But the truth is, all that stuff disappeared.
Yep.
All that stuff didn't matter. The metal handrails, the white robes that were... I'm not a white robe guy. But, all that stuff just disappeared when you're standing there and you're praising the Lord, or you're listening to the word, or you're spending time in prayer, or when I was with you baptizing people, just sitting there praying for them while we're doing that. Man, it's just an incredible moment. And I know that it's a really eye-opening place, because it isn't just because you're seeing a sight that you may have not seen before. It isn't just because you're actually dipping your toes in the water where it is. It's because that place brings you to a place where you're evaluating yourself, and you were getting to evaluating yourself before you ever even want to go in there. And sometimes you really are just getting yourself right. And I think that moment for the trip we were on together specifically, that moment was like we'll call it a cultural shift in our group, where it's different now. And
Right.
Because we made an interesting choice. We traveled with another church that we're friends with, but they're on the other side of the country, right? So they're all the way in California. We're in New Jersey. And we separated for baptisms because our group was split almost 50-50, 49-51, whatever it was. So we were split about 50-50 for the group. And our time slot is limited. And it was, again, encouraging in the same way. Now, granted, still in English, but that moment where they're on the other side, we're over here, and we're not conflicting over it. You can hear some, we'll call them nuancical differences, and it's just encouraging to just see the way that's happening. And you're like, well, I know we're in Israel, but East Coast to West Coast, God's moving, and he's changing lives, and he brought back that group of people with the same testimonies that we bring back here, which is it's just an incredible time. And you can see that even inside of our group. And then, as you said, it kind of expands out to just the group next to you. The group right next to us did not speak English. I had no idea what they were saying, but I knew what was going on.
Exactly.
And you could tell, and it was so cool. And further than that, I couldn't hear that far away, but I remember specifically praising God. I'm like, man, you're moving across different cultures, different locations, and it's the same water. And it's a moving place. It really is eye-opening, and definitely one of my favorite stops on there, even though it's a shorter one. It really is a shorter one, unfortunately. I wish we could just sit there with our feet in the water for the day, but it is a shorter one.
They're cleaner bodies of water.
Yeah, there are cleaner
the Jordan
bodies of
River.
water.
Look, you got to make no mistake. The Jordan River is when Naaman was told to go and dip himself 7 times to be cured of his leprosy. He debated, I think I'll keep my leprosy rather than go dip in the Jordan River. Like, don't you have clean water around here? There are places, but it's not necessarily known. Like the Sea of Galilee is pretty. The Sea of Galilee has,
I could spend the entire trip on the Sea of Galilee and just be in awe the whole time. The other, since we have time with our segment today, why don't we'll do a brief little overview for the Dead Sea while we're at it, because the Dead Sea is something that everybody, I'll say this boldly, everybody's like, I want to put my feet in the Dead Sea. Why? Because you can float in it, nothing can sink in it, and it is a really cool spot. Spoiler alert, if it's super dangerous just to walk.
If you have like bad knees or something, you got to really be careful.
Plan for, because it is like a murky clay to get to it and slip. And I remember specifically, I went down and I was like, "Yeah, Meg, I'm going to dip my foot in," because I'm not saying I'm not doing it, but I wasn't going to go swimming, and I ended up swimming. It was an accident because I got down close to the edge, and as I bent my knee to go inside, nope, shoop. I slipped right inside. I fell in real hard, and I was like, well, and I'm in the Dead Sea. Not how I wanted to get here, but it's how I got there. But that site, biblically referenced many times and has a lot of significance, and it seems like something you'd really want to see. And I know that we would both say this, so we'll say this, and not opposed to going or doing that. It is so underwhelming compared to everything I think we've covered on this to date. It is one of the more underwhelming ones where you almost imagine it to be much more grand than it is. Now, I know it's shrinking, like a lot. It is dwindling by, look it up. It's incredible the amount of.
Well, years ago, there's like a resort, and the resort was right on the water's edge. And now the resort now has this long, almost like Cape May-esque beach. You keep walking and walking and walking to get down there to the.
There's a sign when we come up on the road. Now you feel like you're at the top of a giant crater where the lake should be, like a lake should be, and you're driving around the edge, and all of a sudden you see up there, and they're like, yeah, that's where it started, and there's like a marker of like what it used to be and what year it was, and you're like, that's really far. Anyway, it's just an interesting thing,
and it's the same river. But upward to Jordan, where you said, remember where that water was moving and it felt refreshing, and people, and by the way, when water is moving and it's got that current to it, which is really very helpful, it helps in baptism because you get somebody and you put them back in the water, and then the current actually helps bring them back up. There's probably a sermon in that too. The current helps lift them back up, even out of the water. They come up. Remember the smile on your face, the smile on their face. You get to hug somebody who just came out of the waters of baptism, and their life is never going to be the same because they've just experienced something that is unique and maybe once in a lifetime. And their family and friends are taking photos, and the smiles and the praise and all glory to God. You know, for that minute you are right in the middle of doing something that pleases God. So you never have any fear of like, hey, is this the divine will of God or the permissive will of God? This is the enjoyable will of God, and we're right in the middle of it. Then you go down to the Dead Sea, and the Jordan River flows down, and as long as it has a place to go, it's lively and fresh. But when it comes down into the valley, which is one place said it's like the lowest place on
dry land or something.
On dry land. So it flows down from Mount Hermon up at the top all the way down to the lowest point. And here it is at the lowest point. It has nowhere to go. And because it doesn't have an outlet, it sits there and just stirs and is dead. Nothing can live in it either. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I can't imagine the symbolism if we chose to do our baptisms in the Dead Sea. That doesn't seem like the place for it. Also, be like a little bit difficult. Try to keep it down. Although the current pulls it up, I don't really want the buoyancy to pull it up. But it is a unique experience. It is cool once in a lifetime. There are plenty of people that are like, that was my favorite part. Wasn't mine. I know it wasn't yours. But it is still a cool and unique thing. We'll give you all the fair warnings we can. Weird changing stalls there. Limited shower access. Expect just to be crusty. Let me tell you, you're going to be salty and crusty because you're probably going to find it not worth it to wait in the shower lines because they are so long. But also be prepared to walk all the way down, the giant boardwalk because it's a receding body of water. It is getting smaller. As my memory serves, it gets smaller every year. So you're going to have to look at it, and it's going to be different, I'm sure, when we do go back. But it is still eye-opening and exciting nonetheless, and it is a really cool thing and another opportunity just to see just the Bible come to life because it's as real as it says it is, and which is also an encouragement. But yeah, that is one of the places where you have a little bit more wonder. I feel like sometimes when you look at you or historical artifacts and stuff, you can almost imagine things around it. When you're standing where the water used to be and you're looking at a small amount of it, you have to imagine how much different it would be in the landscape. So it's a really cool visual. However, that was one of those ones that kind of, I don't want to say underwhelming. That really may have been too harsh of a word for it because it really is still an encouragement and an eye-opener and another validation of the word and the way it lines up. But you stand
one of the things it's still a testimony to the faithfulness of God.
Amen.
Because it's been there since the Bible was written, even till today.
But as we go through there, I know there are a lot of people. That was probably the most amount of people from our group and the group that was traveling with us that opted for, I'll stay in the bus for the hour. I'll stay in the bus for a little bit because the walk is kind of grueling and potentially slippery and things like that. And there are plenty of...
And you're in a desert.
Yeah.
So if you're already hot and you're not going to go get refreshed because it's
salty. It's not that refreshing.
But a lot of people do go because that clay That clay has a high mineral
Yeah.
content, and they just slather it all over for
Every
kinda
person you
healing
see that isn't floating as far out as they can, which you can't even do the whole thing. I guess that's probably my biggest reason that it was so frustrating to even look at, is the area you're allowed to be is just looks like, it looks like when you have the kids stirring up the muck in a pool or a lake, and then you look past where you're allowed to be outside the little buoy line, and it's all still and it's clear, and you're like, I'd like to be over there, but instead you're in cloudy water, because every person that gets the opportunity, like, I know there's a lot of cultural stuff that says like, hey, rub this on your skin, you'll live for whatever. Everybody has a different tale from it, but they're slathering it up. They got it head to toe.
You
They're
can
covered
buy
in
it and take it home with you.
They're leaving in it,
But,
like they're
yeah.
leaving crusty, just covered in this mud on their way out. And then sometimes they're leaving crusty, other times they're leaving it on all the way till the last minute so they can get to the shower. Then you got a naked crusty person, you're waiting behind them, and they're fighting it off their skin. I'm like, oh.
It is
So,
a clay-like substance.
it is an interesting place to be. Again, you don't want to miss opportunities when they're there, and I love that got a chance to.
Yeah, we'll take people there for them to enjoy it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
They can enjoy their experience.
I'm probably
there.
not going to risk the edge anymore. That was painful, but it is. Yeah, again, it's still an awesome opportunity. But you'll see that when you go. And you'll
Exactly.
put your own toes in it and make your own decisions. And personally, I'm kind of curious to see if it shrunk even more.
I don't know.
It says it is, so we'll see. But we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us.